very warm welcome here to Dynamic Earth. Today we launch our campaign to re-elect the SNP Government. 4 years ago I introduced Alec at the Apex Hotel after I had asked the final First Minister's questions of the last parliamentary session. Now, I'm not one to blow my own trumpet, so I will simply say I hope I made a better fist of it then than Ian Gray did today. That campaign saw us re-elect the first ever SNP government, an SNP government that has achieved for Scotland. After 4 years of successful minority government, it is now time to ask the people of Scotland to re-elect us. We've done a lot in these last 4 years. I'm sure I speak for everybody here when I say it's been the fastest 4 years of my life, but we have a lot more still to do. So for the next 43 days we will be campaigning in every corner of our country. I know I will be campaigning hard with colleagues in Glasgow. Each and every one of you will be campaigning around the country. One of our key strengths over these past 4 years has been the strength and the quality of our team, our cabinet and our ministers, our parliamentary group, our entire party and movement, and the people of Scotland who have given us the support to do everything we have done in these past 4 years, and I want to thank each and every one of you for that support. Nobody has made a bigger contribution to that team over these past 4 years than the man I'm about to introduce, the First Minister of our country, the leader of our party, Alex Salmond. We know we want to see him re-elected as First Minister on the 5th of May, but it's not just the SNP who want to see Alec re-elected. Poll after poll shows that a majority of people in Scotland think he is by far the best choice as First Minister of our country. And in one of the most recent polls, we even had the revelation that 35% of Labour voters also want to see Alex Salmond re-elected as First Minister. So please put your hands together and give a very warm welcome as he launches this campaign for re-election, the First Minister, leader of the SNP, Alex Salmond.
Well, thank you, friends, and I'm really grateful for that applause because I'm still recovering from that forensic examination. Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen the broadcast, you know the 100 achievements of this first ever SNP government. We take into this campaign a fantastic record of achievement to take to the Scottish people. Now, how do we know? How do we absolutely know that's a substantial record of achievement? I suppose imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. We know because all of a sudden, rather than try to stand on their own deplorable record, the Labour Party now want to stand on the SNP's record. They're going to save the accident and emergency units at Monklands Hospital, and we didn't even know they were going to close them again. They want, and I have proof positive of these changes in Labour positioning. Here is a Labour pledge card delivered a couple of weeks ago from Sarah Boyack. And the 4 or 5 pledges, because you never have more than 5 pledges in a Labour pledge card. Number 4 is literacy skills, very good ambition. Number 5 is ambitious climate change targets, very good. I thought we'd done that, but never mind, a good thing to have. I now have here the latest version, Labour's pledge card as of yesterday morning. Number 4. They're actually campaigning for free university education. Well, this will be a relief to the students of Scotland. The students who've got some memory that Labour Party imposed tuition fees south of the border, back-end tuition fees north of the border. Ed Balls set up the Lord Brown Review, which resulted in £9,000 tuition fees for English students. But relax, Labour are now committed, so they say, to free university education. And the 5th pledge in Labour's pledge cards they're going to freeze the council tax. Isn't that marvellous? After voting against it, budget after budget, after Ian Gray performing somersaults in one interview as to whether he was going to freeze it, increase it by a little, or have the basket of taxes that were in their pre-election manifesto, they are now going to freeze the council tax. Ladies and gentlemen, imitation may be the best form of flattery, but no one in this election will trust the Labour Party one single iota. Now, some people think that my political opponent for First Minister in this election campaign comes with no track record whatsoever. I'm afraid I'm going to have to disabuse Mr Gray during this campaign. Let's remember that this man had ministerial office in a Labour-Liberal coalition. Indeed, as Minister of Transport between May 2002 and May 2003, he didn't decide to commission the new Forth Bridge, which he's now complaining about, commissioned by Mr Swinney, but he did start the Edinburgh tram project by promising it £375 million. Ian Gray, the Minister for Trams in the Labour-Liberal coalition. And as Enterprise Minister, over the same period of time, Ian Gray managed to have a recession when the rest of the world was in recession in 2002 to 2003. And I thought, since crime and punishment is going to be a major issue in law and order in this campaign, there's an interesting contrast between a Minister and Deputy Minister of Justice in 2000 to 2001, under whose ministerial term knife crime increased in Scotland by 12%, and our current Secretary for Justice under the last 4 years, where knife crime has reduced by 30% in Scotland. So we'll be proud to stand on the record of this first SNP administration. And secondly, it comes to team. Now, when you're looking to assess the quality of the SNP government, it's best not to rest on your own descriptions, but rather look for independent commentators. And therefore I was struck by the words of Joyce McMillan in The Scotsman on the 18th of March. Now, Joyce, for those of you who know, an intelligent, perceptive commentator in Scottish politics for many years, but never, you might say, a natural SNP supporter. But this is what she wrote on the 18th of March. And the question we face is just this. When the flag begins to fly and Scotland's free prescriptions and university fees need to be defended, and the vision of society that underpins them needs to be articulated with energy, pride and a touch of poetry, then who do we seriously think is going to face the world with the strongest, most confident and most credible case for the path we are taking? Will it be Ian Gray and Andy Kerr, or will it be Alex Salmond, Nicola Sturgeon, John Swinney and Mike Rushton? I think the answer to that question is clear. And although my heart will always say no to the SNP, this time round my head says increasingly yes. Not just for the sake of Scotland, but the sake of a whole idea of a convivial and democratic society, which need doughty and capable defenders now more than any time in our history. Ladies and gentlemen, if we can persuade the sceptics that this is an administration with a quality, not just to defend this country, but to take this country forward, then I believe will convince the Scottish people in this election campaign. I believe, and I've always believed, that we're going to need 40% to win this election. We're facing an election where the Liberal Democrat vote will collapse, where the Conservative vote will decline because of the policies of the Tory Lib Dem coalition in London. And therefore, while we won the campaign, our first ever government with 33% of the vote in 2007, this time we have to campaign with the objective of securing 40% of the vote. Now, the recent polls show us within touching distance of achieving that objective. Still a few points behind, but I think going into this campaign, we can go in with confidence. Because as the choice becomes clear, as it becomes a choice of who's going to govern Scotland over the next 5 years, as the contrast between the SNP team and the Labour team becomes starkly obvious, and as the message of 100 brilliant commitments achieved by this SNP government comes through, then we have nothing to fear from this campaign. On the contrary, we have everything to gain from this next 6 weeks. Can we take our vote from 37% to 40% over the next 6 weeks? You bet we can, over the next 6 weeks. Because the thing that will decide this election, our record will be substantial, our team is substantial as well. But the thing that will decide this election is who's got a vision to take this nation forward. Who's got a vision to take the country and to realise the opportunities of our resources, match and marry them to the talents of our people and take this country forward. Many commentators have asked and questioned, how is it possible that a minority government can sustain itself over 4 years? How is it possible that a political party in power could go into an election campaign with more support than it won the election 4 years ago? How do we maintain the discipline and solidarity, not just in our parliamentary group, but right throughout the party? The reason is obvious and clear and devastatingly clear. The reason is we believe in something. We believe in the future of Scotland. We believe in independence. Now we face a time of huge challenge for many of our citizens. The budgetary consequences of £1,300 million of Westminster cuts that we grapple with as an administration have consequences for our social fabric in Scottish society. There is no question this is a time of great pressure for many, many people in Scotland, but it is also a time of political opportunity. There is legislation going before the Westminster Parliament. An SNP victory in this election will secure not just that legislation, but an extension of the powers to take our economy and therefore protect our social fabric. We're not satisfied with what's in the Scotland Bill. We want to see real powers for a real Parliament. But the vision of Scotland doesn't stop at having the economic muscle to defend Scotland properly to realise our potential. Our vision stops with Scotland as an equal country in the family of nations. And that is why in this election campaign, we shall ask people to vote for more power to our Parliament now in that piece of legislation, and ask to have the opportunity to allow the decision on this country's future, an independent future, to be made where it only can be. And that is by the people themselves in a national referendum. Finally, I'll let into a secret. I love elections. I'm looking forward enormously to the next 6 weeks. I'm looking forward to the campaign. I'm looking forward to a campaign on a platform that we shall have never had before. That's a platform and a record of achievement. I look forward to campaigning with all of you, to mobilising the spirit and solidarity in this party to take our message to the people of Scotland. And above all, I look forward to campaigning with a vision of an independent and free nation, equal in the world and socially just at home. Thank you very much.
Come on now, people, let's get on the ball and work together. Come on.